just be, no excuses. I'm never mind. I'm not saying nothing. I'll just watch this nonsense.
So so the first thing is anytime this is the kind of the stuff that when you just talk about discipline, you're
Right.
already showing your hand when you have stacked safeties like this. Like they're not
Yes.
even. You've already tipped to the quarterback where you're going with the ball. And like, why is this important? Because when you know that guy's driving on the backside on the slot receiver on the inside and he's going to trap, that just means that the receiver on the other side is going to be wide open because that safety's dropping. So all you have to do is clear out here on the bottom of the screen. You run that deep crosser. And listen, what's the hardest play in football to cover if you're an outside leverage cornerback who's playing in man or match coverage? These dude's running away from you
Crosser.
across 56 yards of field, man, or
Yep.
53.5 yards of field.
Yep.
It's
Crossing route.
impossible. And they just show this stuff early and often. And I guess maybe they think that their defensive line is going to get home, but it's just bizarre. Now you see this in man coverage. AG, they play a ton of man and match coverage. And I mean, listen, they got ran all over the board here in this Carolina game, but you can also attack that in the passing game because it gives you one-on-one opportunities, man. And
well, you got Aaron Glenn as their DC, so he was a guy that was comfortable doing it, but that don't mean you can run it. I say 80% of the time you want to flip flop between zone, some cover 3, a little bit bump and run to kind of disguise what you're doing from play to play.
That's a great point that you make. Just because Aaron Glenn was a hell of a player.
He was a great defensive back.
Just because you're a hell of a player doesn't mean your guys are you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just because you were a tough guy doesn't mean you. I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying, as a general statement, just because Amon Green's coaching you, don't make you Amon Green.
Correct. So you got to be mindful as a coach because you can get caught into, this looks what I would do. Mm-hmm. I would run this and I would play this technique just like this, inside leverage. I would press hard or whatever, make him go outside. But that talent may not be in that same player. That knowledge, you're giving him the knowledge, but is he going to remember it when the ball is snapped coming off the ball and the receiver is giving him his chop steps before he breaks it out or breaks it in, trying to run a post or trying to run a slant route. So got to be mindful of that as a coach.
You check this out. So one of the things and this happens in the run and pass game, it's interesting. So it looks like 7 in the box right here. They got a 2x2 with a tight end attached on the bottom of the screen. Mm-hmm. Single back in the backfield, shotgun. The safety that's come down to put 7 in the box is just playing man coverage. And so watch what the Carolina Panthers do here. They run a triple cross. They got guys going every which way. And I'm just telling you, communication here, I don't care if you're the best coach team in the world. This is not easy.
This is a problem right here.
But if you're always running, if you're running man and you got all these guys going, it's like who's on first, man? It's like watching Top Gun. Where'd he go? Where'd who go? There's just that's all kinds of trouble that the Packers can take advantage of because we got a couple guys that can stretch the field, but we also have guys. We have a Dobbs, we have a Randall Cobb, guys that can get open by running those quick routes. Tunyon you can add into that mix, right? Of running those situations where you're running little switches, little crosses, running triple crosses, where this action gets exploited because there's communication problems. That was even that AG, that wasn't even off of motion, right?
Like it was a setback field. Yep, it was a setback field.
You can watch against the Bears in the red zone where these guys run motion to a bunch coverage, and they got a safety telling a linebacker to switch man coverage responsibilities. Dude's wide open on the drag backside, and you got 2 guys sitting on the flat route, and it's just. This is what happens when you got young players. You're trying to coach them up. You have all these switch calls and all this communication. Mm-hmm. We talked about it on the Green Bay Packers side of post-snap communication versus pre-snap. If you can get it done pre, you're good, right? If you're trying to work at post-snap, you usually got some problems unless you're a very, very accomplished defense.
Exactly. All right, what we got here?
We got motion. You see the early designation because of the speed of the tight end coming across. You see these guys show early, and you're giving that pre-snap look. And what happens when this safety drops? You got the easy drag. Now, of course, the Carolina Panthers ran for 320 yards rushing against these guys, right? So they're really focused on getting to that. When that tight end goes in motion, that usually meant they were running the toss sweep.
Got it.
So they're really thinking about this. But what I wanted to demonstrate was not necessarily the keeper, because that's a play that everybody runs and you're going to find different levels of success, but these guys don't tackle. First guy doesn't make the play. The first guy does not make the play. It takes 4 guys to get there.
Yeah, that was, and that could, you want to put that that team in a more down situation. You want to keep them getting first down, first down, first down. We want to make them work for it basically. So that means wrap up at the point of contact.
This is a play that the Packers run all the time. You got trips right to the bottom of the screen. Now you see that the inside receiver has outside leverage on the linebacker, meaning that the linebacker who's on the hash mark I have circled is inside of that inside slot receiver. So,
Mm-hmm.
and both other defensive backs are off the line of scrimmage, so we can get a very natural block on the outside man, block on the middle slot, and then the inside receiver is going to run that flat. Again, watch, for fans out there who want to see the game within the game, you got two great stock blocks here. Watch the tackling. Count the missed tackles.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5.
I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like 6. That was the 6th tackle right there. Yeah,
that AG. That was the defensive end. The defensive end made the play downfield. So what do you learn from that, right? What we've talked about before with this team, the Lions in particular. Dan Campbell's going to get you to play hard, but especially on this defense, the attention to detail, the tackle, these little things, communication, tackling, basics of the game. Yep. They've got the play hard, right? They've got the heart, no question.
Zero
but they
question
don't
there.
get details as well as they should.
Yeah, this was something I learned by reading a article, actually a book, a Bill Belichick coaching book. And when teams get to this time of the year, they're fatigued, they're beat up, as we talked about already. We already know this. Playoffs are on the line. Teams are fighting to get in. But the one thing that you're talking about is the fundamentals are lost. Something that the Patriots, what he would have his Patriots players do this time of the year, being perennial divisional champs, number 2 seed team, they would basically do a half hour of form tackling, a half hour of holding on to the ball drills, basically, going into the playoffs. Yep. So that whole month of December, it was 45 minutes of tackling drills, 45 minutes of holding on to the ball. The basics. Why? Because your body's fatigued. You've been doing this since August, and you just are now got to get refamiliarized to holding on to the ball and tackling, which are the basics of football that will either get you on the bench or get you on the field as a little leaguer if you don't do things right. So that's what Bill Belichick would do. And so when I got to high school sports, I would bring that up with all the teams that we had going to playoffs. I said, Coach, hey, let's do another 10, 15 minutes of tackle drills or holding on the ball drills, before and after practice, because this is playoffs. Kids are, they're in their routine, but let's keep this part of the routine too, because this is going to come in big. And I just something I stick to my guns. So when I see this time of the year, just see what teams are tackling better or the same or worse. And that's right now, that's where Detroit is. And at one time, Green Bay was for their little stint.
You just made a great point. How many teams do you think live that life in the NFL?
I would say at least 5 or 6 teams that are well coached.
I would guess 6.
Yeah, I would say 5 or 6 teams well coached, and they have the staff to be that bring that awareness. Be like, all right, this is playoff game, this is playoff time. Let's look at our rosters. Who's healthy? Who's beat up? And then let's watch how practice goes. When we practice on Wednesday, what's that Wednesday practice look like? Is it upbeat or guys dragging? We got to lighten it up a little bit or whatever, make the adjustments, but also get back to the fundamentals, because like I said, you get in that routine by December, stuff that you used to do in August, you don't do no more because it was just training camp. The coaches are reintroducing, football to players that have been with their training at their training facility in Cali or San Diego or wherever. Now you get them to the facility. So August, that whole month of August, you're teaching all these new things, but then come December, it's like, wait a minute, you almost have to hit that reset button, because you're going into the same situation and not doing the bare minimum to get guys ready. Then there's going to be a problem come the playoffs.
The thing that Bill Belichick does, I think that a lot of people just don't appreciate is Bill Belichick, especially now, because you look at what is it when you hear from coaches now? Like if you and I go into a room, a coaching room, like a head coach's room, and we say, hey, we need to tackle more. The coach is going to say, oh, the guys are so beat. Like they'll literally start going like, oh, they're so beat up. We expect so much from them. The truth is, they don't practice as much as they used to. Nope. That's a fact.
That's 100%.
Right? Yeah, they don't hit as much as they used to. So if you're not feeling if you don't feel as good as I did or you did, then it's because you're not doing something from a recovery standpoint or a preparation standpoint, because we hit a lot more, right? And we put a lot more damage on our body during the week. So when the thing that Belichick does, the point I'm trying to make is the thing that Belichick does is he says, I'm not going to be emotional about this. I'm going to be pragmatic about this. We need to do this. I will. And so I'll become like Bill. I just tell you, like, he became an expert at recovery modalities. They have one of the best recovery modality systems and one of the first in the National Football League. And the reason is he's like, I'm going to work you hard. You have to be able to recover. That's how we're going to do this, because I'm not going to work you less, right? I'm going to help you recover more. So, anyways, let's go back to run opportunities here, because the run stuff is interesting in that man coverage affects the run game too. This is a very simple toss play. You see they got a fullback. This is just like old school 12 personnel. Okay, we're going to have the tight end block out. You see the big gap they have between their 3 defensive linemen, and they're running a 3-4 with the safety down. But we know that safety's down playing man coverage, but this team doesn't even try to block the safety, because unlike a lot of teams, when the Detroit Lions play a man safety in the box, that dude's not even thinking about the run game unless he's being specifically told to trigger. So check this out.
That's not a good idea right there.
They got fullback lead on the Mike linebacker. The safety, the safety's not even being touched. They don't even care about him. They're like, he's not going to play. He's playing man, cut back, bye-bye.
Yeah, the safety is like in tune to the tight end, and the tight end's not even blocking him. He thought that if the tight end released, he would have went with him. Since he didn't release, he got stuck looking at the tight end blocking his guy.
And he's not wrong. And I just, the point we're making is like, he's not wrong because he has man coverage. But when you're in that situation, it's very, very difficult if the other team knows you're always doing the same thing, and you can literally book a guy in the box. All of a sudden, I went from I got 5 down linemen, a tight end, and a fullback, and you really only have 6 in the box again. Right?
Yeah, because one is not paying attention.
One's not paying attention to what you're going, or excuse me, 7 in the box. Yeah. But either so you have numbers. So we look at the tight end here, because their linebacker is man coverage on their tight end. Tight end can just block out on Aiden Hutchinson here, number 90. Is that I think that's Aiden. He can block out, and you see this linebacker at the second level is just standing there waiting.
Right. And oh man,
you see what I mean? And this is nuts, man. This is nuts to watch.
You would think, being coached by former players, that is just another word for green dog. Even though green dog is more, you focus on the running back and then you blitz if the running back stays in the backfield. But you could do this with the tight end. Same thing here. You green dog the tight end if that's your guy. But if he blocks, you take the next guy, or you rush, do something. You got to put that pressure on. Keep the same pressure on across the line of scrimmage.
You see this, this is 12 personnel. You see 2 tight ends hipped off on the tackles. This formation happens all the time with the Green Bay Packers, right?
Yep.
And I want to see Ike Ekwonu, who's a rookie left tackle. He does a great job of taking down this defensive tackle in the B gap on the left side of the line of scrimmage, and allows this play to really happen. But it ultimately happens for what you're talking about. They don't green dog. They don't adjust for the run game. They sit and hold on the backside. And it's like, oh man, oh man, oh man.
Good gracious.
I mean, 320 yards is no accident, bro. Like, if you give up 320 yards in the run game, you're doing something very specifically wrong. Now, everybody runs this play. They're going motion as we look at it, right to left. You see the hipped off tight end. We're going to do that cross action again. So they're going to hand the ball off. He's going to come across. So Aiden Hutchinson thinks, oh, I know this look. I'm going to come down and crash this and create a pile here in the A gap between the center and the left guard. Unfortunately, when you do that enough times, you just bypass him, run outside, and now you're back one-on-one on the safety. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. Now, this was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't want to, PTSD is a real thing, and I'm not trying to make light of it. But if I was these safeties after this game, I would have some sort of, I would be stressed.
Yeah.
I'd be having nightmares. You know what I mean? I hear you. I can't tell you how many times these dudes were like one-on-one with the goal line is the only thing stopping them. It was nuts.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's not good stuff right there.
This is a great play. We don't run a lot of inside trap, but you see this formation, AG, and this just looks like you can run 16 gap out of this, right? You're in shotgun formation. You see 16 gap for everybody as the left guard's going to pull as we're watching the screen from the right to the left, and he's going to wrap around. The tight end's going to block out. We're going to have a double team, and they're going to lead up on the safety or 44. Everybody knows that. The linebackers know that. So the wrinkle that the Carolina Panthers put in, and something we should think about, is they ran a trap on the defensive tackle that I've circled in red. And you'll see that Malcolm Rodriguez, who's a great young linebacker, he over pursues this play
A little
because he
too
thinks
aggressive.
it's going to be a gap, runs himself right out of the play here, and you see the hole, man. I mean,
Wow.
now Anzalani on the other side, their other linebacker,
That's a rookie
picks the
card
wrong
picture
hole.
right there.
Yeah, makes it as easy as he possibly could for the right guard and center to wall this off. But these are the kind of things, these linebackers like to hit. They're aggressive. Malcolm Rodriguez is super aggressive, but they do overcommit from time to time. When you're not a good team and you're struggling against the run, what is something that they always do, AG? They always move their guys, right? They always want
right
to
before
stunt.
snap. Yeah, pre-snap movement.
Pre-snap movement, but they also like to stunt and try to make sure that I miss my guy so they can get penetration and make you cut before you want to, right?
ETs, some TEs, throw them in there, sprinkle them in there.
So these guys do a great job here. Again, this is about slanting. Slanting's feast or famine. If you slant, get penetration, and make a mind cut before he wants to, you have a chance at stopping him. If you slant, don't get penetration, and your linebackers are now over pursuing because there's a huge gap, this is the kind of stuff that happens. Cross action play, easy. And you see Malcolm's over pursued because they've done such a good job. I'll just rewind it here real quick. You see the tight end does such a good job of pushing this all the way down there. There's just a monster gap. AG, let me ask you a question. You see this. I don't know. Do your eyes immediately go to 34 and just assume that the center is going to pick him up?
If I'm cutting back, I see his head. If I'm going to cut back, he's already out to play for me because I can see the back door here. But if I'm keeping it play side, I'm just going to I see him. I don't know who's going to pick him up at 44. I'm going to start with him first and basically hit him dead center line to deal with 34. But if I'm cutting back, I know he's blocked. I know 34 is blocked.
I'm guessing you're taking this right down the hash and you're saying 44 just has ceased to exist in your world because from a speed standpoint, there's no way he can catch you right now. He's going the wrong direction.
Correct. Right? Yep. Body's going the wrong way. He's just getting there, settled, and as his feet are literally getting in position. But then I'm running past. I'm in my third, fourth step.
Yeah, you're gonzo. You're gonzo in this. Yeah.
Yep.
Great cut by these guys. Panthers got two good running backs. I'll tell you what, Chuba and this, they're good.
Yeah, they just got to figure out everybody else now.
Now I just wanted to put. Yeah, well, that's true. I wanted to put in this extra lineman play. We haven't run this all year, and we got
U71. U71.
Yeah, U71 package. Listen, Zach Tom may or may not. Josh or Zach Tom, they're both going to be healthy. Only one of them can start because Bakhtiari's playing. Maybe this is the week because look at the difference. Listen, Mercedes, everyone comes back and be on, well, Mercedes Lewis is that guy. No, he's not because Kevin Berry was 350 pounds. And Mercedes is probably the second best blocker on the Green Bay Packers. I'm just talking about from a girth standpoint. Yeah. There's just a difference. It hits different when you get hit by 330 or 275. I'm just telling you, it hits different.
Way different.
This guy, this is Cam Irving. And when you put big guys in the game, you just get great movement. You just get great movement. And AG, you could talk on this. Like this safety is the only free man. Okay. And even when he triggers here, because he's got to navigate, it's too hard for these guys if we have a running back that's committed and makes quick cuts.
Yeah. He's at a leverage a disadvantage. I see him, but I know where my play design going, and he's not, like you said, he's not triggering right away. You would think, I see a John Lynch. He's in the gap. He's meeting me in the gap, but a young, experienced DB, they are doing business decisions in the head, and it's just not reacting properly, as you saw in that last play.
So Sam Darnold actually ran for a ton in this game, which was surprising. But
yeah, I remember seeing highlights. Yep.
Everybody runs this play. They're just running zone. They're running the option off the defensive end. Now this is not Aiden Hutchinson. This is Kaminsky, and you just see like he's not very comfortable in space. And this is just another reason where you start getting excited if you're AJ Dillon or Aaron Jones. It's like, are you going to give me that much space to run off of, knowing that my right tackle can crash down this defensive tackle? Because that's a lot of space, man.
And that's the beauty. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you tell me. I don't remember. There's like a handful of plays in an entire season where your hole is that big, bro. Like that's
Well,
ridiculous.
this is the beauty of the RPO, which is
Yeah.
option play. I played in Nebraska, so when we had a defensive end like that, oh my god, it was feast or famine. I was like, pick your poison. It's gonna be me or Tommy Frazier, or it's
But
gonna be Lawrence Phillips or Tommy Frazier. Which one? If you don't attack one of us, the other one's gonna get the ball, and then it's a problem. And that's why you see RPO action in the NFL now for the past almost 10 years, maybe 10 years now since Colin Kaepernick made it famous and Harbaugh did it at San Francisco. So that's why you see that creates a dilemma for the defensive end / linebacker.
what's interesting to me, because we both grew up in Naval Academy,
Yeah.
Nebraska. We
Yep.
both grew up in the option. And
Option offense. Yep.
what's always interesting is, depending on what option play you're running, they want that defensive end or whoever the trigger man is, they want you to hold that play off as long as possible, right? But the way that we run the option with the dive out of the shotgun, out of the spread look, excuse me, it's not where you're optioning, you're flicking off to, you have a second guy coming around and you're running it out like kind of the width of the field. This is a dive, or the quarterback's taking it down the channel. And so what that means is, if you're kind of in halfway, it's like Mr. Miyagi said to Daniel-san, right? You go down karate right side of the road, good. Karate left side of the road, okay.
Yeah.
Karate down the middle, squish like grape, right? You can't halfway this, man. You got to be all in, or this happens. Like, you can't just be standing there going, "Oh, I'm going to trick somebody." You're never going to trick anybody on these plays.
No, because even if Darnold kept it, he's running because
he's winning either way, right?
He's winning either way because you got too many yards between them and trying to make a tackle.
How many game-saving tackles does safety make, by the way?
He might have got the game ball if they were having him out that day.
I'm telling you. So you got 2 down blocks. So you get your 12 personnel again. You got 2 down blocks by the tight ends here. And this is the kick play that we've shown on this channel a lot.
Yep.
You're going to see Jeff Okudah, who is not a fan of tackling. I'm just telling you guys right now. You're going to see him pop into the right side of the screen. And this is where everyone's going to kind of block down. And you essentially, as a running back, you're going to come downhill, but you're really trying to bump this play off outside of these tight ends. And there's just this natural running lane. Everybody comes down and blocks. And now Okudah shows up. And listen, regardless if he's in the right position or not, you think you're going to be able to run through him because he's a defensive back. But if he doesn't close that gap, bro, I mean, this is bread and butter football right here.
Yep, the running back did a good job staying skinny on that tackle's butt with his block there, and that's where he's able to get past that just with a ankle attempt tackle there to get him upfield.